Hi, and welcome to Mark's Motivational Podcast for another Author's Tuesday. Today, I'm delighted to be joined again by Rich Hilton. He was on the podcast before a few years ago, I think the last season or the season before. So he's on to promote his third book. So, Rich, thanks a lot for joining me again.
Well, thanks for the invite, Mark. It's great to be back.
Yeah, cool. So, how's things been with you? All good?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, all
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Lot going on.
yeah. I know. But no, congratulations on your second and third book. It's been the first book was the last time I had you on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, congratulations. That's great. And like the third book is, you corrected me earlier on. It's a book on short stories. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. So it's essentially it's exploring themes about like corruption, like murder, intrigue, whole sorts of stuff. So one half of the book is set in feudal Japan, and the other set in the American Wild West. I was going to do the third part. It was going to be set in modern Britain, but I couldn't think of how to finish it off really. So I thought I set that. So there's all sorts of entwining bits within those books about how the families interact, how different characters cross each other, and all this sort of stuff.
Right stuff. Yeah. And what's the third book called? Which?
So the third book is called Chronicles of Katanas and Colts.
And would you like to maybe read the front just to give people a taste for the new book, please?
Yeah. So as it says in the blurb, is embarking on an enthralling journey through Chronicles of Katanas and Colts, Tales from Two Frontiers. Delve into interrelated stories, short stories that seamlessly entwine the intricate landscapes of feudal Japan and the rugged Wild West. From the samurai's code beneath the sacred tree Jingo Nui Sugi, excuse my Japanese, to the lawless frontiers of the American West. These tales interlace the destinies of diverse characters, explore themes of honor, resilience, and the universal human experience across time and cultures, immersing yourself in a collision of two worlds within this captivating narrative.
That
So
sounds really good, really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so that's that one. And then the second book is my poetry book, Finding Old Harry Rocks.
Oh yeah, cool. Well done. And the three of them are available on Kindle. Is that
Yeah,
right,
they're
Rich?
all on Amazon Kindle. Yeah,
Yeah, great stuff. And you didn't look at the publishing route yet, did you? You didn't bother going down
not
that
just
road.
yet, Mark. No, just get a taste of how to self-publish for.
Yeah. Right. Well, you've got a trilogy there now, so that's amazing. Well done.
Mm, three books out, Mark. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And what ways have you found a best way of promoting your books there since you've written them?
Um, so I've been going around letting people know, telling people like friends, family, all that sort of stuff, and obviously coming on to here, Mark, as well, which is very useful because I'm guessing your podcast is getting pretty big and huge.
Yeah, well, it's doing fairly well. Thanks very much, Rich. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. If you stop doing them, you'll get to go nowhere, as you say.
absolutely, mate. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
suppose there's all those sort of things that go on as well.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
really getting people to know what you're doing and all that.
yeah. Exactly. That's great. And no, that's great. And have they been putting any bookshops lately? Have
No,
you?
no, these are only going to be through Amazon,
Okay, okay.
just the ease of for myself at the time being.
Mm, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And the
Keep it-
second
as-
book, sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
Sorry, Mark, as I say, keep it simple, stupid.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah,
One
definitely.
thing at a time.
Yeah. And your second book on poetry, because I love the first one you did. You came on the podcast before talking about that. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit around the second book you did?
Yeah. So originally what I was going to do is kind of like a follow-up to my first one I did, Whispers over Windermere. And so I wrote all these poems out and I thought, right, okay, I'll put a few short stories in with them to break it up a bit. And as I was doing that, there was the guy who did the editing and that from Fiverr. He said, and a couple of other people said, actually, you should write a novel. I didn't really fancy writing a novel. That's why I wrote the short stories. So I spoke to our friend Orlando's because I was down that neck of the woods and I had a visit. He said, "Oh, yeah, you got various themes within this book here, haven't you? But there's also it goes from like there's a story entwined in the so there's also when people do buy it and read it, there's a story entwined in from the start of the day to the end of the day. So it explores like the whole range of going out through the day as well as like individual poems itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like so there's a story that's entwined in the poetry
Yeah, there
itself.
is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And would you like to maybe read one of your new poems from that second book? Would be great, Rich.
yeah. I can do for you, Mark. Um, this one go B. A mystical vapor of mist set the scene. Fly, bee, fly, collect the pollen and fly. Enchanting flowers of food for you. Fly to the hive, sing and dance, and others will go. Feed the hive with golden honey. Plants love the feel of tiny feet. Wings stroke the petals, giggling the plant. A musical exchange between flora and fauna. The spider web glistens with morning dew.
Wow, that's really good. No, it's and where does your inspiration come from writing
It's
these
all
poems?
it's all round, mate.
All around,
So a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
of them come bizarrely, a couple of them come from a couple of dreams. One of them was what Orlando said because he said in New Zealand we gets really frosty. They got the new spider webs out that time of year, so you get that all that mist on them, so they can actually get frozen. And if you breathe on the web, you can actually break it and you can hold it in your hands, but then it'll melt. That'll melt the web. So there's a bit of inspiration from things like that. Yeah, and that's like Sparrowhawk, and that was flying above. I was thinking, okay, what's the Sparrowhawk thinking about up here? But then also, what's the little mouse or whatever it's hunting down there thinking about as well? So there's that sort of thing going through it as well.
Yeah, that sounds great because, like, how many short stories in your third book, Rich? Many short stories altogether?
There's I can't tell off about 15 mark. And there's also a short story in there here as well. So that's kind of breaking up, like a bit like breaking up the day as well, I guess,
Yeah, yeah,
for that
good stuff.
metaphor.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, and do you want to maybe read out one of your short stories in the
Oh,
in the book?
it's a bit long for that.
Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's 15 short stories in there.
Okay, cool. Great
Yeah.
stuff.
They're all
No,
yes, they all intertwined together.
yeah,
So ones in Japan they entwine together, and then the ones in Wild West they're all kind of one story as well, but entwined in one.
and did you have to do much research? Was there much research involved?
The research I used, thankfully, there's ChatGPT.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you've used that, Mark, but how I was using it was for looking at the names, the meaning behind the names of the characters, the makeup of town, a bit of translation work, and just going asking it for prompts about how could this be written, how could that be written. That's all I really used it for. All the rest came from kind of up here.
yeah. It's a really handy tool all the same. 'Cause I haven't
Or
used
is
it
it ever,
personally.
Mark? Yeah, yeah.
And is there any illustrations in the new book, or is it?
No, there isn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah. Did you was that something you thought of, or you'd be thinking in the future of? Or
No, that's enough to go on with the time being, mate. Yeah.
yeah, good stuff. Yeah. And no, that's great because I'm going to share like the links to your new book as well on the show notes
Yeah, I
for
appreciate that, mate.
people to get. No, of course, yeah, that's great. And is there anything else you'd like to share about the books that comes to mind?
I just hope people just enjoy them for the sake of enjoying them. Yeah. And even though there's going to be errors in there and whatever else, so what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, because
How do you how do you enjoy finding writing then, Mark? Where do you get your ideas from?
on myself, like I well, as you know, I do a writers group every Sunday. for everybody that's listening. It's kind of you work off a prompt every hour for an hour,
Mm.
every Saturday. So I suppose like the dialogue of the story kind of keeps you going because as you can imagine as a writer, um, the characters take a life of their own sometimes,
Yeah.
and they they kind of guide you in what way you're writing them. So I suppose that's the way I've been doing it lately. Like when you create a character, it can be really simple, and then as you know, it can kind of venture out into
Mhm.
different places, and that's what makes it so exciting. Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you haven't written a story for the week, and then you get to it to next Saturday, you see where he goes from there. So that's a good way I've been doing it.
Okay. Sounds like a good idea, actually.
Yeah. And how about yourself? Like, do you have a kind of a system you've been using when you're writing them books? Or
My system is I pick it up when I can.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go, okay, I might well like to explore that theme or something on those sort of lines. So as a friend of mine said, is actually with the latest one, that Chronicles of Katanas and that, is there's the potential to turn it into the likes of um can't remember his name is now, Flashman, if you ever come across him. No, so he's like the opposite of the Richard Sharp stories. So he went all around the world as a bit of a buccaneer, coward, gentlemanly, swashbuckling type of stuff. Obviously, he's the fictional character, but he would also then go on his journey is meet historical characters. So he'd go, I don't know, whatever period of time he is. So he might go and meet, say, Queen Victoria or Palmerston or whatever, whoever it was about those sort of times.
And that's the way he'd get the stories. Like that's the way they kind of come to him. Would it be? Would that be fair to
No,
say?
that's a suggestion of how a friend of mine he said
Yeah. Yeah.
could explore it doing that,
Yeah.
which is not a bad idea.
It is a great idea. Yeah. Very, very
Yeah,
good. Yeah. All
yeah,
these little tips you get from different authors is great, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Yes, you never know. They may bump into Larry Lamppost and his friends.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. Yeah. Stranger things have happened.
They do, Mark. Yeah,
Come here, Rich. Can I just ask you another way? Like you do an excellent podcast with Ali. I might just touch on that for a while in a few
yeah,
moments.
yeah.
But what I wanted to say as well is, with your training you've been using over the years with the different modalities like NLP and all that kind of stuff. Do you kind of use them in your writing? Do you find they help you in a way, not knowing that information?
Good question, Mark. That I don't know. No, yeah, no, not. I can answer that question, Mark. I don't know.
Well, that's fair enough. No, just what I mean by that is sometimes with the language, like knowing the stuff about NLP with the way language is structured can
Hmm.
can kind of what I've been finding when I'm writing my books lately. I kind of even using different things like that presuppositions and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. You
uh,
you tend you use it without unconsciously,
yeah. That's
really.
that's possibly what I'm doing, Mark.
Yeah, yeah, very good.
Yeah, it's a bit like yourself. Is so start writing some of the characters, and as you say, they take a life of their own. Just go, oh, actually, I like the way this person is actually developing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm. Yeah, it's unbelievable the way the course they go on. You don't expect that stuff to happen. And can I ask you a question as well, Rich? Because what I've kind of been asking people this, for ending the particular story, did you ever have any hassle with that? Like, knowing what way to end a particular story?
no, I don't think so.
No, no.
I think
Okay.
some. So there's one of them, and this dude he has quite a tragic ending in a particular one, and people are, oh, really? Oh, that's quite horrific. They're expecting him to survive. No,
Okay.
nobody does.
Okay. Yeah, because it's not Hollywood like
It's not, no. No.
or Hollyhead.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, Pinewood.
Great stuff. Yeah, so we'll probably talk a little around if you're happy to talk about the the excellent podcast yourself and Ali have
Yeah,
been doing over
absolutely.
the last God, it must be the last year or so now, is it?
Yeah, shit. Yeah. So another few months it will. We've been running that for a year. Yeah.
Because you have some excellent
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.
topics and it's no, it's really really good. Like the guests you have on, and the used guys really gel with the way you.
Yeah. Fortunately, Ali's like that. Really, yeah, just blows my way, blows my mind. Like just the knowledge and stuff that she comes out with that. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, would you mind to just give the URL for the podcast and maybe just give a little rundown of
Yeah.
exactly
So
please.
yeah, so podcast is called What Makes a Difference, and so it can be found on Spotify, YouTube, and that sort of place. But if you go on YouTube, you got to go and look through the channel for it. It's a bit awkward because of I think of how it's named on there. And so we started a podcast really called Rethinking Trauma and Transition. So that was the idea was that is for people to think that people are able to move away from and transition from that trauma, as well as around that kind of support for like service leavers, military veterans, first responders, and those sort of people from leaving service to civilian street. So we want to explore. So then we thought, right, we need to actually rebrand this and rename it along with our CIC call. What makes a difference. So that's kind of in supporting what we're doing there. And so it's all about is using a bit like what you're doing with NLP Upskill Your Life, Mark, is using simple language, everyday language that people can understand and realize, okay, there is opportunity for me to move on from this experience. It may not be the next few minutes, it might take you 5, 6, 10 years, however long, but there is potential to move from where I am now in the current state to where I want to be.
Yeah, you can definitely comes across in the podcast for people that are listening to this podcast today. It's definitely worth checking out. It's really good because one of the things that stood out for me listening to them from time to time, um, is because you're ex-army, isn't that right?
Yeah,
Or civil
yeah,
defense forces, you should say. And the guests you've had on, that are in the same situation as you, it makes so much sense, and you explain it really well. The way, I know it's a different podcast. We're having you on for the books, but
yeah,
I just want to say, hats off to you. You're doing a great job.
yeah. Cheers. Thanks for that, Mark. And talking to these amazing guests that we've had on, it's like, oh, there's so much. We get better understanding of like other people now and all that sort of stuff, and better understanding himself. So yeah, really useful.
Yeah, definitely. And then I will put the URL on the show notes as well for people
Yeah,
to check
cool.
out your
Cheers, mate.
podcast. No, definitely. Yeah. So I suppose what's next for yourself? I suppose what would you like to happen with the books?
What next is I think I might go and expand more on the Chronicles of Katanas and Colts and see where that goes. Or may start looking again at what I was going to do with like 1970s, like Britain and all around there.
Kind of a history, kind of. Um,
Yeah, it's probably like
yeah, yeah.
three different eras. I thought that'd be quite interesting to explore.
Mm. And will you keep it kind of fictional with fictional characters? I think that's a is that
Oh, 100%. All these characters got to be fictional, Mike, otherwise I'd be done for libel and slander and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of a silly question. Sorry, Rich.
That's right. I'm like, no such thing as a silly question. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I suppose as well, Rich. No, thanks a lot for coming on, and I wish you all the success going forward with the books. It's absolutely amazing. And kind of what kind of keeps you motivated and inspired in your writing, Rich?
Does is just writing stuff. It's just a good thing to do, isn't it? That bit of creativity, and it doesn't matter what people think of it if it's doing it for yourself. There's so many people who get really hung up about, oh, I've written something and because they get scared to publish it, but all they have to do is just publish it for that book for themselves. don't have to cost a lot. You can publish it for yourself, publish your family and friends, yeah, whatever, however somebody wants to take it.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of looking at it. Right,
Mm.
definitely, yeah. And you done the first book. It was for a charity, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What charity was that again? Sorry,
So
Rich.
one of them's closed down. So the first book, that's called Woodland Experiences. So it's going to donate half of that to Woodland Experiences, and then a charity has got closed down as well. So yeah, anything I make off anything else on top of what I've made now will go to Woodland Experiences and all that.
No, fair play to you. That's great. You know, that's really good. It's even like myself and the children's book that I've written. I put like money into Children's Health Ireland for books
Okay.
themselves. So it's nice to be able to do
Give a
that.
bit.
Utilize your skills for and
Absolutely.
help
Yeah.
other people as well. You know.
Yeah, it's good to give a bit back, Mike.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And I really appreciate you coming on, Rich. And I will definitely share all your links and the show notes
Mhm.
as well.
Because you were telling me, weren't you, that you were getting your books published or sold to local schools?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good avenue that
Mhm.
I've went down. Like I've had some luck with schools buying the books off me, and then supplying the libraries. Are they in the libraries? Your books? Have you
Pardon?
approached the libraries, Rich? Your
No, I
books?
haven't. No, no, no.
No. Is that something you'd be thinking of doing, or?
Actually, that's quite a good shout, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Because I found myself personally, the libraries here are very supportive of authors. Local authors.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
I've looked into that.
Yeah. So, is there anything else I haven't asked you, Rich, that you'd like to share with the listeners before we go today?
Nope. I think that's pretty much covered everything, Mark.
Cool enough. Okay, so thanks a lot, Rich, for coming on, and again, all the success going forward with everything you do with your great podcast and your awesome books. Yeah.
Yeah, cheers, Mark. Thank you for the invite, and speak to you soon.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely have you on when your fourth book,
Yeah.
your what do you call the fourth book? I know three is a trilogy, but we'll have to
Yeah,
we'll have to
well,
go.
the trilogy is a series, isn't it?
Yeah, series. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
yeah. So set in different time spans, same characters.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
I've just written 3 books.
Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, exactly. I'll have to ask AI that one. Yeah, it's actually a funny story. There's a bus that going around, in the back of the buses in Dublin that has like they asked AI to kind of put an Irishman who was an Irishman. They have this little fellow with a big bit of leprechaun hat on, it's,
Right.
it's kind of the way AI they have they have a set thing, so it's just quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Rich, thanks very much for coming on.
No, really appreciate you taking the time and having a chat, Mark.
Brilliant. Okay, so thanks very much for listening and watching on YouTube. Mark's Motivational Podcast, another Author's Tuesday with Rich Hilton. Make sure you check out the books. I'm going to share them in the show notes and check out his podcast as well. So, till next time, thanks a lot for listening and take good care of yourselves. Take care. Bye bye. Thanks, Rich.
Cheers, Mark.
Hello, everyone. Mark here. Thank you for watching another episode of my Author's Tuesday podcast. I recently published a book of children's stories called The Adventures of Larry Lamppost and Friends. The book began life as bedtime stories I wrote for my own children. If you'd like to purchase my book, follow the link in the description box below. By buying my book, you are also supporting my podcast series for authors, which is giving a voice to writers in Ireland and across the world.